Alonso Davies, gentlemen, let's get to that. Didn't play a minute in Bayern Munich's 1-0 win over Cologne. It appears Davies may have some competition in the team. I don't know. Ollie, is this something or is this nothing?
Davies, for me, I don't think it's anything. He's coming off an international break. He played 90 minutes. He's the best fullback they have. Yeah, Mazraoui's a very good player, but I think he's more of kind of a Swiss Army knife for them, can play on both sides. So I'm not hugely concerned about Alonso Davies. I think he's going to be absolutely fine.
How you feeling about that, Jordan?
Yeah, no, I agree with Ollie. I think the number one choice is Davies. I think if he performs the way he knows how, he'll be playing 95% of the matches. And he's going to be eager to play because this is a huge window for him, right? The next few months. I think everyone knows that a move is on the horizon or maybe on his heart. So he has to perform well before he makes that move.
Well, it's notable for a couple of reasons. The first one is Thomas Tuchel's calling it a muscular problem. I didn't pick up on anything when he played for Canada on the weekend, and Thomas Tuchel actually didn't make a substitution in that game. Not one change in the 1-0 victory over Cologne. And because of the looming contractual talks, I think it's a situation worth monitoring. Up until this point, he played every game of the Bundesliga season, so it is notable that he didn't play. Mazraoui's a top player. Limer down the right hand side. Teams are liking to play maybe in a little bit different way at times. Limer can kind of push forward. He obviously nowhere near the pace of Alphonso Davies, but because of that contractual situation, because of Tuchel trying to find the best version of Bayern Munich, I do think that this is a situation worth monitoring. So we'll see where they go from there. They play Copenhagen in the Champions League this week, which is really a dead rubber for Bayern Munich. They've already qualified for the next round, so he can essentially rest him then if he wants to as well. But let's see how Alphonso Davies is used for the duration of the season.
Yeah, and where my concern is that if he's hinting at some sort of injury, I just feel like, Alphonso Davies, he's young.
Well,
he's still growing into his body. I know oftentimes we like these guys to already be completely develop, but he is still young. But I am still concerned that there seems to always kind of be something ailing him. And I don't know how you fix that, right?
I kind of see that as maybe a positive thing, if anything, though, that they actually have a decent player to come in and play when Davies needs a rest or needs a break for whatever reason. Because you go through, he's never played 30 Bundesliga games. He has had some persistent injury issues. Obviously, some of them were not muscular. There was the myocarditis thing, which obviously you can't account for. But having someone who can come in and play and give Davies the odd break, I think might not be the worst thing for him.
Yeah. Let's turn our attention now to Jonathan David, another member of the Canadian men's national team, because we've been watching his offense dry up a wee bit with Lille, but he gets a great goal against Lyon. They went on to win 2-0. And given the fact that, he's been left out of the starting 11 recently as well, gentlemen, do you think this is a significant goal for him, Jordo?
Yeah, I think so too. I think you can tell by the celebration when he's flexing as well. He's like, look, for all my haters, I still got it. Look, 10 games without a goal.
No, he doesn't have
Nobody hates him.
Nothing unlikable.
Look at this right here.
David.
Look, this is a Jonathan David goal, right? Sees the center backs drawn out, knows to exploit that space, takes that touch, right? Sets him up perfectly for the outside of the foot. But watch here. Watch the flex. Yeah, come on, big boy. 10 games without a goal. This is that monkey out the back. He knows. Center backs out, touch, little outside of the foot, calm, cool, and collected. What I like about this is not a striker that feels like, oh, I have to score. Like he feels pressure on him. He's still comfortable in front of goal. He still takes that touch outside the foot finish. A lot of people are chipping. A lot of people might even go around the keeper. Outside of the foot, that's just confidence oozing from him. So it's great to see.
Yeah, the Iceman. We love the Iceman scoring goals, Wheels.
I just want to say, there was entirely blown out of proportion about David and his role and not scoring. Went 9 club games without a goal for Lille. The class is permanent there. He scores on international duty, gets some good vibes back, even though it ended with a thud from a team perspective. But players and strikers go through these stretches. Remember, at the end of the 2022 season, he had 3 goals from 21 to finish that year, but then he came back, the next season and caught fire again. This is what happens in the game. Hopefully this puts him in a good place. More importantly, you want to play big games for your club side, Lille up to 4th place in the table. That's very important for him and this team.
Mm-hmm. Let's make our way to North American soil now and Major League Soccer, the playoffs. They've resumed after a couple weeks break as the semifinals, and we do have our final 4, gentlemen, in the Western and Eastern Conference. So you're going to see Columbus is going to take on Cincinnati. Cincinnati, the Supporter Shield winners this year. You'll have Houston taking on LAFC. LAFC looking to get back into the final in back-to-back years, looking to win it in back-to-back years. Ollie, as we just take a look at those games and the Final Four that are remaining, kind of what are your biggest takeaways? What are your big storylines here?
Well, a couple of good Canadian ones. Max Crepeau in particular last night for LAFC against Seattle. It's great to see him back performing in the playoffs again after his injury, obviously, in the final last season. And he was outstanding. He arguably is the biggest reason they're moving on to the next round of the competition for his performance last night. Bouanga gave LAFC the lead, and then they spent most of, a lot of the rest of the time getting shelled, and Max Crepeau came up with 2 or 3 really, really big saves to strengthen his case for potentially being Canada's number 1 going into the new year. And then Mo Farsi as well. This is a player who looked like he'd had his place in the starting lineup kind of taken away from him when Columbus traded for Julian Gressel. Farsi is starting right now. Gressel's on the bench, not playing for Columbus, and Farsi's getting the nod at that wing-back position. So, again, this is someone who is eligible for Canada. He's turned down, I believe, an approach from Canada because he's not ready to make the decision between Canada and Algeria just yet. It is a position of strength, obviously, for Canada on the right-hand side with Larea and Buchanan and Johnston, but still at 23 years old, I think a player to keep an eye on for the national team as well.
How you feeling about it, Jordan?
Yeah, I agree. I agree that Crepeau stood on his head. I think also when you're looking at the goalkeeper position, you talk about competency. I think Crepeau maybe needs that opportunity just to show. I still think it's a 3-man race when you're looking at the goalkeeper position for the national team. Yes, Borjan is the guy that everyone's used to and comfortable and has proven that he's a top keeper. But Crepeau and Dane St. Clair, they're not guys that you just kind of look over and look past. I think they're emerging keepers that are definitely substantial. So Crepeau keeps playing like that. I think he's putting himself in that shop window to whoever's going to take over the squad, maybe to give him that opportunity. And with Mo Farsi, again, I will always beat this drum of the CPL because how many years ago Mo Farsi was playing for Calgary? And people are like, oh, no, the jump for MLS is too large, right? And now this guy's playing in the semifinals as well and playing well. It's not like players are just moving past him. He's doing well. So that stepping stone that we have in Canada, I think it's beautiful because now you're seeing those talented players rise to the top.
Well, just he's keeping Julian Gressel out of the team, guys.
Put that into context.
A good player. I just want to give my boy Oliver Platt some credit. Me and him have been on the Columbus bandwagon. They're moving on. We have the Cincinnati Columbus rivalry game. It should be great. And Ollie was wrong about LAFC. He thought the Whitecaps could get past them. Very, very, very wrong on that. Don't sleep on Houston. Very good team. Made the Leagues Cup final. But LAFC, just the pedigree, the quality in that team. Crepeau back playing well. It's a really good story.
Wanted to tag on you, Jordan. Well, I was going to tag on you before we move on from Mo Farsi, and I lose my train of thought because I'm getting older and I have the memory of a pine cone. He, not just to show more love to the CPL, but he was the U21 Player of the Year as well a couple of years back, and it goes to that whole rule in the CPL of getting Canadian players under 21 those minutes because they understand that they are this league that is supposed to develop that Canadian talent. And yes, we're going to look at Mo Farsi and continue to use him as Exhibit A as to why that is a good thing. Sorry, put a bow on this, Jordan.
No, but the bow is just about we're calling out shots. I'd call that LAFC doing the double and winning back-to-back. Not the double, sorry, winning back-to-back.
You called that?
Ollie. I called it from earlier. I've been saying LAFC. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yep.
So,
me and you.
Tapes. So, and wheels.
Congratulations all around, everybody.
Columbus and LAFC, and maybe 2 or 3 other teams.
West Conference. No, I was Columbus was a value play.
By the way, they're not in the final yet. They're not in the final yet.
This is what I want to say. Right. I'm like, we're acting like they've won. But,
not yet.
Carrasquilla is such a good player for
Houston. Houston has a word.
It'll be a great game.
But I feel like we could get into another conversation as well at another day about Max Crepeau. I know we've been on this bandwagon and we've kind of been beating this storyline to death a little bit, like heading into the new year, if we do expect to see a change in the Canadian national men's team goal. Anyways, story for another day. But if Max Crepeau keeps playing the way he's playing, I don't know who can ignore him. New coach, how do you ignore that? Anyways,